My name is Lucas Wright, and this is my final project for multi-platform journalism. And the three websites that I've been following throughout the semester are BBC News, Coca-Cola for my business, and Zorpia for my social networking. Alright, let's go ahead then and begin by looking at the BBC News website first. Here you can see the home page with a nice header at the top breaking down the different regions and also the different topics of news. There are some ads on the side here, which a bit, but as you can see, once again, you can pick the region, you can pick the topic, and let's take a look at one of the stories here. One thing that's recently changed is just a few weeks ago, keeps changing, and it looks like this comment section is no longer here. That's something we talked about in our discussion. I believe it was like week 9 or 10. That has it's gone now. And there's also been some changes done to the mobile app and the tablet app as well, which I'll show in a little bit, which differ from some previous videos that I posted. So here you can see kind of just a basic story and the layout with the ads on the top and the side you can search. Let's go back to the home page real quick. Here you can see there are a number of videos that are for the top stories, and most of the top stories do have a correlating video with them. It's one thing we talked about in our discussions, how as the media converges, you're seeing more and more videos for newspapers online, just to give the readers / viewers more options to consume the news. So let's move on then to some social media while we're on the computer. BBC has a few different Facebook pages. Here, this is for just the basic BBC News, and the majority of the top stories are posted here. Of course, you can have people like and share them. There are some photos here as well that are uploaded that relate to the stories. And there's also a BBC World News, a little bit different take. It's more world headlines as opposed to just headlines from England. Moving on to Twitter now. There are, I think, 3 or 4 different BBC Twitter pages here. Whoops. Here you can see there's the BBC World News, and it's basically retweeting the existing links here to the story, for instance. Let's go here, and this is just a straight link to this story. Close that. So it's very user-friendly, very crosses over very well between the two. Here's BBC Breaking News, and finally BBC UK. So you can see you can kind of tailor your Twitter feed depending on what kind of news you want. Take a look at some infographics that we had from week 1's readings of the Pew Institute's I guess it's just the review of the media. Here you can see there is quite a bit of overlap for people that use these devices. 27% get the news from mobile devices, such as smartphones and a tablet. 51% of smartphone users get their news from mobile. It's not shown here, but it's a stat that was in an article. 23% use multiple devices, and as you can see, 34% use desktop, laptops, and all three basically to get their news sources from. Another interesting infographic here is that online continues to dominate the growth for all news media. In week 4, Jack Lochner talked about millennials, which is the 18 to 29-year-olds. Their use of social media to find news is very important. So that's why with the different Twitter feeds and the different Facebooks, the users can kind of tailor their wall feed or their news feed on Twitter. We also talked about how, especially for tablet usage, after 10 p.m. is kind of the highest peak time when tablets are being used, and tablets are also being used a lot more for longer readings, so that would be perfect for here. If you go to the BBC magazine, these are more sort of feature stories that are kind of more at length. That would be perfect for reading on a tablet. Now, before I move on to the tablet and mobile version, I did want to quickly mention that for BBC News, the readership is basically anyone who is interested in news, whether that be kids, teens, young adults, older people. It's basically anyone who has access to the web, any of these mobile devices, etc. The user friendliness ranks very, very high with me. Very easy to find, very slick interface. And as far as a 2-year plan for business, one thing that a lot of news agencies are doing right now are partnering with large tech corporations. For instance, ABC News and Yahoo have recently joined forces. So maybe BBC and Google could join up to do something as far as that is concerned. So that kind of seems to be the trend, where these big tech companies are gobbling up more and more web resources. So maybe you would see a merger with BBC News and another large corporation. Okay, here is the iPad, and let's go to the BBC News app here. As you can see, this has changed since the last time I've kind of talked about BBC on the tablets. Here it's kind of a split screen now. You've got the text on one side and then the top stories and stuff here on the other side. So that's kind of new and different. And now they've also added, if you look down at the bottom, advertising. That's something new that they never had before. So once again, you can see the top stories at the side, and you can kind of scroll through the different subjects. If you scroll down far enough, you get to different geographic areas and more of the broad subjects, where these are kind of, you can see the different stories for those different topics. Another nice feature here is you can customize everything. You can add or delete different regions, and you can add and delete different topics. Also, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can take photos and send stories, which ties in very nicely to the kind of citizen journalism that we've talked about quite a bit. So with that, let's go back up here to the top, and you can see there's also a link to live radio to listen to BBC News on the radio. So it's very user-friendly, very nice for, like I said before, those extended reads. And one thing that I do wish that they could do, I'm not sure, I haven't tried this, there you go. If you turn it sideways, that goes to full screen for those extended readings. Switch back, and you can see there, you can go to the split screen once again. So that's kind of cool, and that's very new for BBC News. Let's go check out the mobile. Okay, and finally here for BBC, we have the mobile app. You can see, just like the tablet, it's very similar to the different topics and the headline stories. Let's go ahead and click on one here. You can see there's the story just like it was on the tablet, and also you can share here to all of these different social media outlets. No ads, as you can see, just a copyright down at the bottom. You can refresh and you can swipe through the different topic that you're in, and if we go back to the main page, you can pick the different sections and the topics that you'd like to look at. Very user-friendly, very handy, and once again, there's also a link here to listen to BBC Radio Live. So that will do it for the BBC. Let's move on now to Coke. Okay, now for the second part, I chose to follow Coca-Cola's website for my business, one of the most iconic names and businesses in the world. You can see here their website is pretty simple, very simple in fact. At the top you see some banners for some upcoming events. This American Idol one has been here since the beginning of the semester. So these are kind of just simple banners that when you click on them, it'll take you to the My Coke's rewards, which is a big part of this website, and Coke as well. This video here in the middle has been the same the entire semester. Most outrageous way to share Coke. It's kind of a silly video. There is a feed here on the side of their Facebook, their Twitter, YouTube, and Flickr. Sort of a flashy front page. I thought it would be kind of neat to show some of the history of what Coke is all about. If you go to YouTube, you know, there's so many iconic commercials with Coke. I think it would be kind of neat to show that or link that some way to your web page. And it would be easy to do since all the videos are already there. I think that Coke really missed out with the Super Bowl ad that it did this year, the Coke Chase. It used to be CokeChase.com. You can go to vote for it. I do have a YouTube channel, but again, there's not a whole. It's more new ads, new things. As far as what the website could do for the next 2 years to grow and improve, I mean, it's Coke. It's the biggest soft drink manufacturer in the world. But really, Coke can't lose. It can do whatever it wants on this website, and people are still going to buy Coke. So let me show you a couple of cool cell phone apps that I found here in this next video. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the Coke apps that I was able to find for my Android phone. Here, Coke has a new thing called a Freestyle, which is a machine that lets you kind of mix different flavors to make your own unique drink, I guess. The thing about that I think is neat is by just on your GPS location, it'll show you where you can get these. Check out this special Freestyle machine. And then there's also kind of a little memory game included, so you can kind of guess the pattern here. There's another one here. Then of course the My Coke Rewards one, which lets the Coke drinkers follow, gain points, special offers that you can get with your rewards. You can keep track of all that information here. But the best one I think is a Korean app I found here for Coke. Some different products I'd never heard of listed here. Dynamic Kin and Sunsu. That's kind of neat. Learned something there. And this commercial I think just cracks me up. It'd be cool if Coke.
조지아 에메랄드 마운틴 블렌드에 콜롬비아 원두가 들어있네? 커피하면 콜롬비아지. 오, 여자들도 대박이네. 콜롬비아. 이번 이거는 콜롬비아노. ¿Dónde está Lilia? 어, 저기. ¿Dónde está Lilia? 원두는 대박이네. There you go. 조지아 에메랄드 마운틴 블렌드.
So that's too bad. I think Coke couldn't come up with something like that for the U.S. market. It is the history, a kind of a history of Coke. There's a timeline, as you can see. You can scroll along, find out important things that happen on certain years. So that I especially found cool, being the history buff, like I said that I am. And finally, this one I think is really cool, Coke FM, and it's once again only in foreign markets I could find it. But it's basically just a radio station for your iPad playing music, and American music, strangely enough. So kind of a cool thing about this is it'll keep playing in the background while you do other things. Okay, and finally here for Coke, we're going to touch on their social media. You can see here there's their Facebook page. And as you can see here, it's very light, very fun. For Earth Day, they have something here. I think I saw one for Tax Day. Just kind of some silly pictures, and this, don't know if it's true fact, it says Coca-Cola is the second most common word in any language. And finally here, we have Coke's Twitter. Just like the Facebook, it's not going to contain anything too overwhelming. It's just fun things. Here again, Earth Day. I think for when they had April 15th, they had smiling is tax-free, which is of course tax day. just some fun things to kind of enlighten life, to make people smile. So that will do it for Coke. Okay, last and unfortunately very least, we come to Zorpia.com. I had some high hopes for this website, kind of judging by the searches that I'd done online for it, and just by the front page here, it kind of looks like a cool, fresh place to network with individuals, maybe. But unfortunately, it seems to be nothing but a dating website. Went ahead and I signed up for an account. I activated everything, and once you get inside, you can see here you're kind of just faced with a bunch of different pictures of individuals, all looking to meet and or hook up or date or whatever. I find that very disappointing. It didn't come across that way at all on any of the research that I'd done. And from the initial front page, here you can see there are some prompts for some social networking sites, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. No wall to post things. You simply have a bio page, essentially, that you can post a few pictures about them. You can add them as a friend, and then you can message them, and that's about it. See people who visit your profile, ones that you're interested in. Basically just a very, very simple dating website, and I was pretty disappointed. I guess my advice for the next 2 years would be to either become a full-fledged dating website with tools to help individuals meet up, or change everything. My personal advice would be to do the latter. Change everything. Or find some niche where you can fit in and properly do that. Like I said before, really not the social networking site that I'm used to with Facebook, where you can share more things. As you can see right away, it's more straightforward about being a dating site. Asks me my gender and what I prefer. So right away we're given a whole bunch of different tiny pictures, thumbnails of individuals, and you can see it gives you their information, where they're at, some extra pictures of them down here at the bottom, it looks like, and also, let's see, let you view their profile. Let's go back. These options, you can either message or block this individual, and if we go back yet again, it's going to prompt me to sign in, and you can see now if we click on one of these people, we can send a message and converse with them. But I guess one thing you can't do is narrow down your search field by age, by location, anything like that. That would be something I guess would be sort of handy in the situation. You're just kind of up to the computer to decide who's closest to you and who meets your standards or whatever. Okay, in conclusion then here, I think you can see through comparing and contrasting all of these websites and their various apps and mobile devices that the user friendliness ranks pretty high amongst all three of them. The target demographic is somewhat different for the three. BBC News is kind of looking for, I would say, the 18 to 45 and older demographic, people looking to stay informed and up to date on current news. Coca-Cola basically exists for fun, for their basically it's there to let the fans and the people who enjoy Coca-Cola to have some sense of loyalty and some sorts of belonging. Zorpia, on the other hand, I would say is targeted for the 18 to 40 range, for people looking to date. All vastly different, but I would tend to say in conclusion, user friendliness and the way in which people interact with the websites and the apps ranks very high. So that will do it. Thanks for watching.